It was a cold December evening. The kind of evening when the sky turns steel gray, and the wind seems to carry a silence that touches the soul. People rushed past each other, bundled up in thick coats and scarves, their breath forming small clouds in the air. Among them was a man named Raymond. He was in his late 30s, dressed in a crisp black overcoat, polished shoes clicking against the pavement. He had just left his office, his mind buzzing with emails, deadlines, and numbers. Life was a routine for him, perfectly structured, calculated, and emotionally distant. Raymond worked as a financial consultant in downtown Chicago. He lived in a sleek apartment, drove a high-end car, and was considered successful by every conventional metric. But something in him had grown cold over the years. It wasn't that he was unkind, he was just indifferent. Life had made him numb. His days were filled with meetings, his nights with lonely dinners and television. He hadn't spoken to his parents in months, hadn't seen his childhood town in years. In a way, Raymond had built walls so high around himself that even he had forgotten what was on the other side. That evening, as he walked toward the subway, he noticed a small figure curled up near the station entrance. Most people walked past her, pretending not to notice, heads down, eyes averted. But something about her caught his attention. She was young, maybe 18 or 19, her clothes torn and too thin for the winter air. Her knees hugged her chest, and her lips were trembling. Her eyes were hollow, not just from hunger but from something deeper: pain, abandonment, fear. Raymond stopped. He didn't know why. It was almost instinctual. Maybe it was the way her hands trembled or the way she kept looking at people, as if trying to summon the courage to speak. She looked up at him, eyes filled with a mix of hope and shame. She hesitated for a moment, and then her lips parted. "I haven't eaten in 3 days," she said, her voice barely more than a whisper. "Please, do you have anything?" Those 7 words froze him. Not because of what they meant, but because of how they were said. Not with aggression. Not with expectation. Just raw, quiet desperation. It was the kind of hunger that stripped away pride. The kind that came after crying yourself to sleep for several nights, hoping tomorrow would be different. Raymond stared at her for a moment. His first instinct, programmed by years of cynicism, was suspicion. What if she was faking? What if this was just another hustle? But something in her eyes told a different story. She wasn't just hungry. She was forgotten. Without a word, he reached into his pocket, pulled out a $20 bill, and held it out to her. But she didn't take it. Instead, she shook her head slowly. "I don't want money," she said. "Just food. Real food. Something warm. Please." Raymond blinked. No one had ever refused money from him before. He looked around and saw a small diner across the street. He motioned to her. "Come," he said. She hesitated again, unsure. But then slowly stood up, her legs shaky, her movements slow, as if her body had forgotten how to function normally. They walked in silence. The diner was nearly empty, a small place with flickering lights and the smell of coffee and fried eggs lingering in the air. The waitress, an older woman with kind eyes, looked up as they entered and gave a small nod. Raymond gestured toward a booth in the corner, and they sat down. He handed her the menu, but she just stared at it blankly. "Can't really read right now," she said softly. "My head, it's just spinning." Raymond closed the menu. "I'll order for you." He ordered pancakes, eggs, bacon, toast, and a large glass of orange juice. As they waited, he finally asked, "What's your name?" "Leah," she replied, rubbing her hands together. "I'm 19. Where are your parents?" She hesitated again. Her lips tightened. Her eyes dropped. "My mom died when I was 15. Dad left long before that. I bounced around foster homes. Some were okay. Some weren't. I turned 18, aged out, and the shelter I was in lost funding. Been on the streets since spring." Raymond didn't know what to say. He had never met someone who had lived a life so different from his. Her reality was foreign, like something out of a movie. but it was real. She was sitting right in front of him. The food arrived, and for a moment, Leah just stared at it. Her eyes welled up with tears, but she quickly wiped them away, not wanting to show weakness. Then she began to eat. Slowly at first, as if unsure if it was real. Then faster. Her hands trembled as she held the fork. Raymond just watched, silent. He didn't want to interrupt. He had never seen someone eat like that before, not out of gluttony, but survival. "Thank you," she said between bites. "This is the first hot meal I've had in weeks." He nodded. "Where do you sleep?" "Sometimes under the bridge on 9th. Sometimes near the shelter on Monroe. I move around. It's safer that way. Some people aren't nice to girls on the street." He felt a lump rise in his throat. This girl, no, this child, was navigating a world more brutal than anything he had ever imagined. While he stressed over board meetings and quarterly targets, she was trying to survive the night without being hurt. "Why don't you go to another shelter?" he asked. "Most are full. Or they ask for IDs I don't have anymore. Or they separate men and women but still let them share common spaces. I was assaulted once. I don't go back." There was silence. The kind of silence that weighs heavy in the air. Raymond didn't know what to say. But he knew one thing: he couldn't let her go back to the streets that night. "You can stay at my place tonight," he said suddenly. Leah stopped eating and looked up sharply. "Why? What do you want from me?" "Nothing," he said quickly. I have a spare room. Clean clothes. A warm shower. You can lock your door if you want. I swear, it's not what you think." She studied his face for a long time. Looking for lies. For signs of danger. But all she saw was sincerity. "Okay," she whispered. "Just for tonight." They walked to his apartment. Raymond gave her a clean towel, a hoodie, and sweatpants. She took the longest shower of her life. When she came out, her face was red from the heat, and her hair smelled like lavender. She looked like a different person. Less broken. That night, she slept in the guest room. With the door locked. And for the first time in months, she slept without fear. The next morning, Raymond made eggs and toast. She ate slowly this time. Less like a starving child, more like someone who felt safe. He handed her a small card. "There's a women's center a few blocks from here. I know someone who works there. They can help you get an ID, maybe a place to stay, even a job." She looked at it, then at him. "Why are you helping me?" Raymond paused. "Because no one helped my sister when she needed it." Leah's eyes widened. "You had a sister?" "Had," he said quietly. "She ran away when I was 20. I was too busy chasing success to notice she was hurting. I never found her. I don't want to make the same mistake again." She nodded slowly. Then reached across the table and squeezed his hand. "Thank you." Over the next few weeks, Raymond helped Leah get back on her feet. He didn't make decisions for her, he just opened doors. She walked through them. She got her ID. Found a part-time job at a flower shop. The women's center gave her a place to stay. Slowly, she began to smile more. Her eyes, once hollow, now sparkled with hope. Months later, Raymond got a letter. Handwritten. It read, "Dear Raymond, I just wanted you to know I'm okay. I got accepted into a community college program for social work. I want to help girls like me. Like your sister. Thank you for not looking away. You saved more than just my life. You gave me back my future. With love, Leah." Raymond folded the letter, tears in his eyes. For the first time in years, he felt something stir in his heart. Not regret. Not guilt. But peace. Because sometimes, the smallest act of kindness, like sharing a meal, can echo louder than all the wealth in the world.